official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll-free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala, 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Fellow countrymen and women, these are our ministers and permanent secretaries at the front bench, representing the various ministries and answering the questions that matter to us. Join the conversation. This is the front bench.
Oh, Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future in thy hand. United, free for liberty, together we'll always stand. Oh, Uganda, the land of freedom, our love and labor we give, and with neighbors all at our country's call, in peace and friendship we'll live. Oh, Uganda, the land that feeds us by sun and fights our soul grow. For our own dear land, we'll always stand. Kapalapa, Africa's crown.
Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for keeping it UBC TV. This is the front bench. Thank you so much for always waiting for us. 0709602592 is our WhatsApp number where you can send in your comments and questions regarding the subject matter that we are going to be talking about tonight, but also using that hashtag UBC front bench. Now tonight we are turning our focus onto how best can we enhance educational quality in Uganda. We have a number of commissions. We have the Judicial Service Commission, we have the Public Service Commission, we have the Health Service Commission, but tonight the pleasure that we have is that we are hosting the Education Service Commission. Now Article 167 establishes the Education Service Commission, but also Article 168 still of the Constitution sets their functions, the authority and autonomy on what exactly should be done as they execute their mandate. Now tonight we shall be understanding what are some of the challenges do they face as a commission, that is when they are ensuring that they provide the essential services to the wananchi, but also how best and what have they achieved as far as their strategic objectives are concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, join me tonight to welcome Professor Reverend Dr. Samuel Abimelech Luboga. You're most welcome on the show. Good to have you, Doctor.
Thank you very much. Welcome, viewers. We are very glad to be here to talk about the Education Service Commission and what we do.
Thank you so much, Professor. I will call you Prof for this program. I also do have the pleasure to host the Permanent Secretary of the Education Service Commission. That is Dr. Lukwago Asuman.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you, Doctor.
Dear viewers, we are happy to be here, and we believe we'll be giving information where we feel the public still needs our information. Thank you very much for hosting us.
All right, thank you. Prof, first things first, the Education Service Commission. Ugandans want to know, what is your mandate?
The Education Service Commission, established by the Constitution of Uganda, Article 167, is mandated to manage the recruitment of probably Uganda's most valuable resource, the teachers of this country, the teachers who turn novices into experts. All of us have been through the hands of teachers, and for us, the Education Service Commission, it is our pleasure to be responsible for providing this country with the best teachers who are capable of conducting and raising the next generation of experts. The Commission, I'll start by telling you about the mandate of the Commission by starting with the legal framework. In the course of executing its duties, the Education Service Commission is guided by the underlisted laws, rules, and regulations. The Constitution of Uganda, of course, Article 167, 168, the Education Service Act, the Education Act, pre-primary, primary, and post-primary, the Local Government Act, 1995, the Kampala City Authority, Kampala Capital City Authority, 2010, the Education Service Commission Regulations, 212, the Teacher Code of Conduct, the University and Other Tertiary Institutions Act, and the Uganda Public Service Standing Orders. The functions are derived from its mandate, which is in the Constitution and the laws of Uganda. And they include appointment of persons to hold and act in any office in the education service in this country, confirm appointments of persons employed in the education service, advise His Excellency the President in performing his or her functions as spelled out under Article 172 of the Constitution, and exercise disciplinary control over persons in the education service, and their removal, if necessary, from service if they misconduct themselves. To review the terms and conditions of service, standing orders, training qualifications of public officers in education, and matters connected to their management and welfare, and make recommendations to government. To establish and maintain record of all public officers in education service, and supervision of the District Service Commission in carrying out matters related to education. In effect, their services are delegated from the Education Service Commission.
Thank you so much, Doctor. You've talked about a number of issues, that is quality of teachers, that is when it comes to recruitment. But now a Wananchi who is watching us right now wants to understand better how best do you contribute to improving the quality of education within our country?
Our vision is quality education delivered by efficient and effective education personnel. We see that this country can achieve that objective. And to do that, we commit ourselves to providing highly professional and competent education personnel. So our job is to look for, attract, and examine and convince ourselves that the people we entrust the education of the next generations are those that are capable of doing the job well. And that is how we contribute to the quality of education in Uganda.
Okay. PPS, let's talk about Human Resource Department. We do have the Public Service Commission, we have the Education Service Commission. What do you do? What is your role? Is there any duplication in all this? Now the Wananchi wants to know, how best do you relate with all these other agencies and commissions, but also the departments that they are in, to ensure that there is good service delivery?
Yes, we seem to be doing similar work, but they are different activities.
Okay.
Because public service is wider, and the intention of having different commissions is to make sure that people who work in similar environment and who are affected by similar environment are actually recruited by a specified commission. Like the chair has said, we deal with teachers, and they are big in numbers. And if like we are one commission, that would mean that their availability into service would be relegated. So they would come maybe after 2 years, if like the commission is busy. So we do work simultaneously. At a surface value, it looks like it is recruitment, but there is a lot of details. We look at numbers. We look at the growth of the profession. For instance, about 10 years ago, about 9 years to be specific, Uganda had only about 169 seed schools. But now, over that time, we have about 530 something. And of course, they will increase based on the population. So if you have one commission and you think that it can handle health, it can handle this, there will be a tendency of delay and relegation of work. And actually, confusion of statistics, confusion of identities, because these people have minutes and so on. So we don't duplicate, but we seem to be doing, it's like a ministry. Someone can ask, you have a Ministry of Agriculture and it is a ministry, but there is also a Ministry of Transport. Why don't you make them one ministry? So the common denominator is like a commission, but the real work is different. It is intended to achieve efficiency and timeliness in delivering the service. Because teachers are needed then. If there is any delay, you lose the whole population. Students usually grow fast. If like you delay 2 years, someone who was in senior 1 will be in senior 3. And if they lack a subject, then that means that you are pushing forward the population and the generation which will be deficient.
PS, do you think you have achieved? Part of your objectives is to improve on efficiency and effectiveness that is within the education service delivery. Do you think you've achieved? Have you moved a step from the time probably this commission has started, from the time you came into office?
Yes, we have. We have, because first of all, the commission started as a teaching service commission in around 1960s. I think 64 to be specific. And it was preceded by study. There was a study and they looked at how they could tease out the teachers to be handled. Then up to 1995, it became an education service commission because our mandate was expanded. Previously, the commission handled teachers only. But now it included many other public servants, whom we commonly call human resource for education, including bursars, those accountants, some procurement people, security, and others who are actually part of the school system. So, from 1995, when the commission became bigger, you don't know how many people have qualified and have passed through the hands of teachers. Now we produce doctors, they have produced engineers, and consistently, but of course there is need to do more because the population keeps on growing. Yep. Then we have exercised disciplinary measure over those teachers. That's why you see, the indiscipline would mean many vulnerable children will actually get problems, like girls becoming pregnant, you see, or schools being abandoned, or teachers becoming drunkard, or teachers leaving government property. But to maintain that status quo and actually get a positive growth into the sector has been partly because of the commission, but also acting with other stakeholders. Of course, the ministry, at the end of the day, the manager of teachers, but we are complementary. Then we have worked to produce policies that actually shape the teachers, and we recruit them in numbers when they are needed and as fast as possible. So that is a contribution, but which has a multiplier effect in terms of national development. May I even inform you that the education sector contributes significantly to the GDP growth. It is not even 10%, it is more than 15%. So maintaining schools run by teachers who are appointed by the commission actually has been a big contribution. Yep.
Well, Prof, you talked about ensuring professionalism, competence. That is when you're looking for quality teachers, for example. You do a lot of examinations to ensure that you get the cream, the la creme out of the cream. Let's talk about the criteria that you use when recruiting teachers and education officers. Because now this is where Ugandans out there feel the pinch. That is those who put in money to go for this kind of education to become professional teachers.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd like our viewers to know that the Education Service Commission handles above 70% of the public service.
True.
When we are choosing teachers, we are choosing teachers to teach at a specific level, but also to teach at a specific subject. And therefore, the criteria is we look for qualification. Are you qualified? And qualification means you have attended a teacher training institution and acquired the required qualification, but you have the two teaching subjects that you will be specializing in. So in fact, we are recruiting specialists, for example, physics and maths. So we need to be capable of identifying somebody who will be able to handle that specialty. But then you remember that the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda defines who a teacher is. One who is not only qualified but registered. And once we have those criteria, then having received submission from the MDA concerned, Ministry of Education and Sports, or KCCA, or MAIF, then we advertise. And when we advertise, we specify the job description and person specification. And then the interested persons apply. Once they apply, then we go to the painstaking process of collating these applications and giving each of them a unique number. And the time we were relying only on hard copy paper applications, the commission would fill up with all these masses of applications. But now we are moving towards electronic recruitment system. Having received the applications, then we shortlist And shortlisting requires that we check, have you attached everything that you are required to attach? For example, your academic papers, your registration certificate. And it is interesting how often, in spite of the fact that they are specified in the advert, many people miss them out. So they are not shortlisted. And it isn't out of malice, it is just because they have not complied with the requirements for the advert. And having been shortlisted, sometimes we have more numbers than can be interviewed practically. For example, recently, we advertised for slightly over 2,500 positions and got well over 42,000 applications. So we have got to do another reduction exercise, and that is aptitude test. And once people have passed the aptitude test, then they are invited for oral interviews. And the oral interviews is not a formality. People who come for oral interviews are advised to prepare well, because they must impress us that they can actually do the job. And it is interesting that they are often required to give a mini lecture, a mini teaching, to convince us that they can actually handle a class and do teach our children. And once we are convinced, then we score them. And we score them in order of merit. And when we come to the last decision for commission meeting, we select the highest to get the job. So really, when you get the job, pat yourself on the shoulder, you have gone through a rigorous exercise.
Doctor, at that very point, you have a systematic workflow on how you recruit teachers. This is, I think, something Ugandans didn't know. You talked about impression. If you're not impressed, I believe you have a panel. You talked about electronic system. Are you doing something for those who are in the rural areas, in the villages there? Recently, I was checking on your X handle, formerly called Twitter, and you're doing good, by the way, we must appreciate. I was seeing updates, recent updates, by the way, on whoever applied, come and see how best you can get this. But those in villages, there are those who are not on this new digital era. Do you have plans for them?
It is interesting that when we are starting the e-recruitment, we were actually warned high up in the hierarchy of this country that those teachers are not, computer illiterate, they will not handle. We are surprised. The teachers handle. The teachers, even when they're in rural areas, when they're expecting information about their application, they do find an opportunity to access our website. We put up information for them to come for interviews, and they find a way to check the website. It is not just that they sit in rural area where it is inaccessible and wait there. If they are waiting about the application, they will move themselves to where they can access the website.
Okay, thank you, Prof. A number of questions are coming in, but we are going in for that short commercial break. But if I can sample a few, thanks for the program. I am Chitiyo Isaac from Kalachi. I want to thank the ESC for the work they are doing. I want to hear about how Electoral Service Commission is working to curb down corruption during the recruitment process. Chair, I think you will tackle that when we return from the break. Which plan do you have for the surplus list of the teachers? The chair mentioned that they can decide to pick the teachers in section I will be grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, keep your questions and comments coming in. The officials are here. They will answer all of them. The front bench continues. Don't go away.
This is the front bench.
Buza Kamiso now, enhancing tax education and bringing it closer to the taxpayers. Many Ugandans have questions about the taxes they pay to URA.
When we come at revenue, they tell us to clear Chitenge at 10,000. And when we are selling Chitenge, we sell it at 17. So we don't know whether we are working or not.
Understanding your tax obligations can help you grow your business and avoid unnecessary losses. Now, you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887, and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner.
Hello, Kampala, Uganda. In response to the national call of strengthening the traffic security, Good Products Group HGO brand has officially launched the Rider Selection Campaign. Registration is now open. Visit www.riders.hgo.com. Complete your registration now for a chance to win exciting prizes including motorcycles, exclusive HGO gift boxes, and official rider vests, all while promoting safe riding awareness. This is how to participate. Pay the registration fee, invite 3 friends to form a team of 4, and your registration fee will instantly be refunded. Begin your journey of honor today. Don't miss this opportunity. Join the challenge, promote road safety, and become a pioneer rider. For details, visit the official Good Products website at www.hgo.com or call toll-free 0800-335-555 or visit our offices at Kingdom Kampala 3rd floor to register now and win prizes worth millions.
From the day your child is born, you want to protect them. You want to protect them from the harm you know and the things your eyes can see. Protect them from falls when they are playing and as they are learning the world. But what protects them from the things your eyes can't see? Diseases attacking their bodies. Immunization from as early as birth, 6 weeks, 10, 14 weeks to 9 and 18 months, and malaria starting at 6, 7, 8 to 18 months protects children from diseases, giving them the foundation they need to grow stronger and healthier.
Parents and caregivers, remember to immunize your children 9 times from birth to 18 months to protect them against vaccine-preventable diseases such as measles, rubella, polio, pneumonia, hepatitis B, tuberculosis, tetanus, meningitis, yellow fever, diarrhea, whooping cough, diphtheria, and malaria. All vaccines used for immunization are safe, effective, and free. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF, WHO, and partners.
Looking for instant excitement? The Uganda National Lottery Spin for Cash game is now available online. Wherever you are, you can join the excitement for just 500, 1,000 and 2,000 Uganda shillings. Don't miss out. Register now on www.nationallottery.go.ug for a chance to win your share of 2 billion instantly. What are you waiting for? Play Spin for Cash now, anytime, anywhere. Ituba is the proud operator of the Uganda National Lottery.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Fellow countrymen and women, these are our ministers and permanent secretaries at the front bench, representing the various ministries and answering the questions that matter to us. Join the conversation. This is the Front Bench.
Well, this is the front bench. Before we went for that break, I had sampled some of your questions, which the chairman of the Education Service Commission is going to be, of course, answering some of those together with the permanent secretary. But yesterday, we also did put up our poll question on our X handle. We asked what should the government urgently focus on to secure lasting excellence in our education system. We did put three items there. Transparent hiring goes for 18%. Skills development goes for 38%. Better teacher pay goes for 44%. That is according to the voting that you people did on our X handle. But also, we do have comments. Amon Junior Rukundo says infrastructure, totally no fees, teacher salaries, especially government schools, and then overall, more funding to practical skilling courses stroke sciences. That is Amon Junior Rukundo. On X, Chizito Joseph says better teacher pay and transparent hiring. But what about welfare and accommodation? Many live far from schools, poor sleeping facilities are dilapidated. Thank you. Daniel Tumwesije, your comment is not really clear. To Kahirwa, Aman says, look, the increased salaries for science teachers, but with no improvement of laboratories, equipment and other necessary tools for learning does that improve on skills of a student? And the last one from Global Warming, a great question. Would agree we need to focus on teacher support and modernizing curricula to keep up with the real world skills. Investing in early education is key too. Prof, those are some of the comments and questions that are really coming in from our viewer. But you had the one already to you towards corruption and how best you recruit these professionals.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm really glad that the country is alive to the scourge of corruption. But before I go there, I would like to briefly mention some of the big challenges the Commission has got to battle. One is the big numbers of applicants. The big numbers of applicants chasing few positions. And this is paradoxical because it is coexisting with many vacancies in schools. And therefore, what is the cause? The cause is a shortage of wage. So we end up putting up positions and getting very many people applying for them, and therefore making them feel desperate. And this opens them up to the possibility of being taken advantage of by corrupt individuals. But this has also been alongside an increasing number of cases of forgery of academic documents and employment-related records like postings by our teachers. There is delayed promotion. Again, many people have entered the service as diploma holders. They have gone ahead to attain higher qualifications and are nearing retirement and are still at diploma level. We are soon promoting those that have been in service for over 20 years, but we need to do more to train them, to promote them at the point when they get higher qualifications. We have another problem of teacher absenteeism. You know, when people apply for jobs, they normally apply, I humble apply. And I continually tease them that where does the humility go? Because the number one misconduct is absenteeism of teachers. We have a problem of gender inequality, especially at the higher levels. The women are very few in secondary education, especially in the managerial levels. Now I would like to touch on corruption. Teachers, because of the factors that I have mentioned, are very vulnerable to unscrupulous individuals. They are told lies, that there is a mechanism where if you pay, you get the job, which is not true. I'll tell them something that these unscrupulous individuals can use. They find a way of accessing our pre-appointment records, and they may find somebody who is actually doing well and is candidate number 1 for appointment, and then they call that person and they say, if you don't pay, you will not be appointed. And of course, if he pays, he's appointed on merit, but he doesn't know. He thinks it is the money, and then he spreads that to another one, and so the lie continues. During this current exercise, which was supposed to be school-based, we identified many unscrupulous individuals who, in preparing lists for school-based interviews, were extracting huge sums of money from poor teachers to be included on these so-called lists. That's why we decided, and it happened to be an action that was timely, we decided to advertise all these positions in all these schools so that they are competed for, even by those who claim to be sitting teachers. And it has paid off. We have got many teachers in remote areas who are applying to stay in those remote areas and render service. And this, we think, is a solution to the rampant cases of corruption. And I would now like to invite the Secretary to answer the question about surplus list. Because when you are not appointed, it isn't that you have failed the interview. Sometimes you have performed very well, but the positions are not enough to absorb you immediately. So, Secretary.
Yes, the
Thank
floor
you very
is yours.
much, Professor. What we call surplus list is when the appointment process takes the best, but there are some better ones. So the Commission's policy is that for about 6 months, the results can be, it's not a mandate, can be used in case we get another submission. So, and we need to warn teachers, because why sometimes we don't popularize that approach, people will come to them and say, I'm going to argue the commission to help you to be appointed. But normally that is what happens. If there is any chance and a certain number is submitted from the ministry, we may not invite people for application again, because the application process is expensive and it takes a lot of time. For instance, when we did the advert for this U-Gift Phase 2 schools in December, it was specifically December 23rd, we have never left offices up to now. And this exercise is going to end in mid-July. So professor and team and everybody has been in offices or interview centers. So advertising is expensive. Sometimes we usually say when 10 posts can be filled from this reserve list. But of course the order of merit follows. We didn't also inform you that we are the appointing authority for majority of the staff in the Ministry of Education and Sports. Those are the teachers, supervisors, commissioners, directors, all of them are appointed by the same Education Service Commission. So back to the question whether there has been a significant contribution. So when the sector achieves, it achieves through those people who are appointed by the Service Commission, either at a supervisory level or at an implementation level. And the implementation level at a managerial level and at an operational level going to the classroom person. So the commission does a lot of work, and on top of appointing them, we exercise disciplinary control over them, including dismissal in case they commit grave commitments, or warning, so that everybody is actually aware that something is sticky there, even when they are given a carrot.
Kindly on that, PS, also talk about Harvey Dams on X asked, do we have any benchmark in our education system? But also another Nabude Mastula says improving on teachers' welfare, as in harmonizing salaries of arts, retooling both O and A-level teachers in this competency-based curriculum, and also implementing the very curriculum at universities. Universities are still training teachers in all the curriculum, surprisingly. How true is this?
Okay, thank you very much, Nabude, for that observation. But Nabude should also appreciate that the university education is actually competence-based. Because when we started talking about competence-based, it looked as if university education was also like analog. No, the university education has been competence-based. In fact, what is happening is actually extending competence-based arrangement to the lower level of education. Competence-based means you train students not to look at knowledge as an abstract. Recently, I was talking to a group of students. Even teachers, I was asking a teacher whether they know the historical sites in Uganda regarding to slavery, and I was actually interested. Do you know where Fort Particle is? Someone didn't know. Now, competence-based meaning that you apply knowledge, and actually apply knowledge not only in your field, but also. So, and I was like asking a teacher, if you wanted to be a travel tour guide, how do you get guests from America and guide them? So a history teacher, actually history is practical, because if I talk about like Kirwa, a slave market called Kirwa or Bagamoyo, you are supposed to know so that the student understands that these things happened. If you teach the history of Buganda here and the conflict, you even show them the hero of Mengo where Mwanga was, and Ngong and so on. So competence-based is not only for science, but universities, by arrangement, their courses are competence-based. That's why, like me, I'm a medical doctor and a specialist. When I come out of a medical school, I'm competent. I start with operating people. But this was lacking in the lower secondary, because many of the children are given knowledge. You can imagine, how can you teach a generator and you don't tell a child that that dynamo which you see on a bicycle is actually a generator? And children don't know this. So when you tell them using local materials, or you teach triangles and you don't create a triangle using a ladder, or you teach vectors and you don't create movement upwards using ladders, or backward, downward, and how many distances are traveled. So the competence-based is really to use the available local materials to inform learners that actually what they are taught is real, is not an abstract, is not knowledge from Mars, and it is going to be applied.
Okay.
So universities usually have competence-based training.
Okay,
Yes.
Prof, our time is running out. Let's talk about how often does the Commission recruit new teachers and other education personnel, but of course putting in mind a regional balance and equity as we wrap up.
Well, we recruit new teachers as often as we have the opportunity. In fact, the other day I was telling the teachers that my main role is to look for and create opportunities for them to compete, not just to give them jobs, but to make sure that they have the opportunities to compete for more and more positions. So our bottleneck has been wage, but whenever we get, and we actually actively seek to receive submissions because of the vacancies that exist in many schools. And whenever we get an opportunity, we advertise and recruit new teachers. We have we have several forms of adverts. One is the internal advert for promotion, but we have external adverts where even the newly qualified teachers can apply for these positions.
Okay, PS, I want to hear from you, your last words. It's already 9:30, there is another show that's coming up, but what is that one thing that you really want the Ugandans to understand before? Because we shall just get some other time to host you back.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, before I goes to Prof.
What Ugandans should understand is that recruitment by the Education Service Commission is purely based on merit. So, because we are noticing that many people call us, and actually we are wondering, how does someone expect a distinguished person like Professor Luoga to replace a competent teacher by a non-competent one? So all of you Ugandans who are applying for posts in the education services, make sure that you improve on your competencies. Of course, many of the teachers, according to our experience, they don't prepare for interviews. Many of them feel that they are going to be asked the lessons which they studied from university. But you are entering a service and you don't look for newer information. In fact, my advice to the teachers, you can also visit someone who has already gone into service to give you some clues. It is no longer business as usual, and corruption will not work, however much money you have, or whoever you know. Make sure that you are competent, because the professor has already guided you. We are looking at a future generation that actually will improve our country, especially when we are aged, and they have to be competent. And then parents want their children to pass. So if you are not competent, don't bother us. Come to us when you know that actually we are going to answer our questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, PS. Before I cross to Prof, I'm going to give you about 2 to 3 minutes to summarize. Let me just sample some of these questions in 1 to 2 minutes. Good evening. As we discuss enhancing education quality, we cannot leave out salary disparities between teachers of science and the teachers of arts. What about primary school teachers? Where do we belong? This is Mabonga Patrick. Thank you, Mabonga. Doctor, why does a teacher who joins government payroll as assistant education officer needs again to do another interview to become education officer upon acquiring a bachelor's degree, yet he or she did interviews in the first case? This is Epukanis, Israel. Thank you for watching. This is Akaziba Rashid. District Service Committee advertises at primary level, and each member on the committee shares a group of applicants to receive corruption. Who will they follow? How I think will they follow up that when applicants refuse to corrupt them, the name cannot appear on the short list? These are questions that are coming in from people. This is Chitio Isaac from Kalachi. I want to thank the EC for the work they're doing. I want to thank the chairman for elaborating the issue I raised. I request him to also give special consideration to those teachers who have been volunteering if they perform moderately in oral interviews. Okay. Innocent from Gulu. When will UVETAB release now or December national certificate for 2024? If the Prof can talk about. What about the e-registration? You left it for the private blockers who are overcharging our teachers. It's true that the ministry has done less in ensuring that teachers are registered online, and this has increased cases of fake certificates in guise of being offered quick service. One last one. Commissioner, PS and presenter, issue of corrupt officers, which makes you take someone who is incompetent. Secondly, you're paying peanuts to arts teachers, yet even almost all these politicians did arts. Prof, you've had questions are very many,
yes,
but
yes.
in about 2 to 3 minutes, kindly, let's summarize as you give in your last words to the viewer.
Well, thank you very much. One intriguing question was, why do people who entered as assistant education officers who went on to do another degree require to do an interview?
Another interview, yes.
Yes. This is a very interesting question coming from a teacher, because we know that qualification alone is no guarantee In fact, when I talk to them, I tell them, congratulations, you got a degree after a bachelor's. But I got up to a PhD. But if I walk, you see me walking along the street, do I look as if I have a PhD? So it is not just the fact that you can prove that you got a degree. What value addition can you show in your competence because you have this additional training? That's why we want you to give a chance, to be given a chance to prove that your degree made a difference. And therefore, they should yearn to do that interview in order to prove that the time they spent doing the degree was well worth it. I want to stop by saying that I was intrigued by what happens in Japan. In Japan, you are not rewarded for experiences not by the number of years you have worked, but how much better you are ever since you were first recruited. If you are recruited and you must be good, but if you do nothing, you will deteriorate. And therefore, we don't want you to be promoted when you have deteriorated. That's why we want you to give you a chance to show that you have actually become better.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, PS, Dr. Asuman Lukwago, for sparing time. Thank you so much, Professor, Reverend Dr. Dr. Samuel Abimere Chiruboga. Ladies and gentlemen, the Education Service Commission has a lot on table. But because of the limited time that we had, I think we shall get some other time and call them back so that they can answer some of your questions. But also, next Monday, you don't have to miss the front bench. Why? I will host the man himself, the Clerk to Parliament, Adolf Mwesige. What do they do in Parliament? What is his mandate? A lot of things happen in that institution of Parliament. So next Monday, do not miss the front bench. I am Jethro Kasaiji. Good night.
Oh, Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future in thy hand. United, free for liberty, together we'll always stand. Oh, Uganda, the land of freedom, our love and labor we give, and with neighbors all at our country's call, in peace and friendship we'll live. Oh, Uganda, the land that feeds us by sun and fights our soul grow. For our own dear land, we'll always stand. Kapaloba, Africa's
UBC, inspiring Uganda.